Alright, this is day 4 bonus video. We're going to talk about routines a little bit more because I was just drinking a cup of coffee and it really got me thinking about, what I had just said in my previous video about, really trying to nail down the morning routines. We have this tendency to want to make everything like an artisan type activity. I mean, this isn't for everyone. This is for me, and this is for a lot of people I know. It's like people like drinking beer. Well, what's the next step? Like, all right, seek out craft beers and seek out micro breweries and go on brewery tours. And then maybe the next step after that is brewing your own beer. And it comes to a point where it's like looking at Martha Stewart and looking at Martha Stewart's crafts and stuff. And it's like, when she gets things ready for Thanksgiving, like, here's how to make a beautiful centerpiece, and here's how to do this, and here's how to do that. It's like, yeah, but how much time does that take? And your time is worth something. Everybody's time is worth something. And what is your time worth in comparison with what you're trying to accomplish? That's a weighing thing that you have to do on a regular basis, is figure out, can I afford to do this? There's the monetary, can I afford? But then there's also the time, can I afford? So I was sitting here drinking my coffee, thinking about this, and this is where I actually start to talk about what I meant to talk about. Sitting here drinking my coffee, and the way I make my coffee is one of, I'll say 3 different ways. There's probably more than that, but 3 is what occurs to me. Actually, 4 is go to a store and buy a cup of coffee. Okay, so what's the thing that takes the least amount of time? A lot of people think, if I go to a store and buy my coffee, then I don't have to worry about cleaning up the mess I make when I make the coffee. I don't have to worry about actually making the coffee. I don't have to worry about the supplies I need to make that coffee. I don't have to worry about washing the cup that I'm going to use to drink that coffee, because then, when I'm done with the restaurant coffee, I just throw it away. So let's call that, even though that's not the least amount of time, maybe that's the least intrusive, because you just go through the drive-thru, get your coffee, go on. It might take 5 minutes. I'm about to pass a Dunkin' Donuts right now that tends to stack up fairly substantially at this time, 7:45 in the morning. People are getting their coffee on the way to work. The second least intrusive way of making coffee, I think, would be using K-Cups at home. You've got your Keurig, you throw a cup in there. You don't have to worry about grounds, using a filter. You don't have to wash a coffee maker afterwards because you're going to put it directly into the cup that you're going to drink out of. You still have to wash the cup, but it's not a whole lot of prep. The other 2 methods that I use on a regular basis are a pain in the ass. And the reason why I do them is because I just happen to have ground coffee or coffee beans sitting around, and I don't like to waste things. So I have decaf K-Cups right now, and I use those at work, basically. So I've got a box at work, I've got a box at home, and I had dipped into the box at home and had a cup or 2 while it was Christmas break, just to have a hot beverage here or there. Lots of times at home I'll just go to decaf tea if I want something hot too, or a broth or something like that. But anyway, one of the 2 methods is I take whole beans, and I have a manual grinder, so I add the beans into this crank grinder. I grind them fine into espresso, and then I basically make a small triple espresso, and I'll either drink the espresso or I will add that to a water bottle. The way I make Americano is I add it to a water bottle that I've already added some water to, so that it's not super hot water coffee hitting the bottle. I add, I fill the bottle about halfway, pour in the espresso, top the bottle off, give it a shaky shake, and then I've got Americano, and I can drink that cold, or I could heat it up in the microwave. And what I've been doing lately, the other of the 2 ways, is I'm just taking regular ground coffee, not coarse ground, just regular ground, and I put it in a French press, and then I press it. And that's obviously coming out kind of so-so, because you get a lot of finer particles that aren't filtered out by the wire screen, the wire mesh in the press. So you get a lot of sediment in the coffee. You don't want to drink that last swig or two of coffee because you're going to get a bunch of grounds in your mouth. So I say all of that to simply say this. You have to kind of decide at some point whether you need to invest a little bit more money to save time, or whether you'd really like to make it a craft to do those certain things, and those things are such an important aspect of your routine, and they're so rewarding in what you get out of them. Because if I'm drinking French press coffee or pour over coffee that I make the right way, if I use coarse ground beans, if I make a cold brew, so see, look, there's another method that I didn't think about before. A cold brew is another thing that I do. If I use any of those methods, the coffee is better. It's better coffee, it's tastier coffee, but at what expense? At the expense of time, at the expense of having to sacrifice, something else. And I was just sitting here thinking about the fact that, I had a routine before Christmas of getting up and having a cup of coffee and writing while Alex was getting ready for the bus. And what's so hard about that right now? And it took me like 10 minutes to make coffee this morning because I had to screw around with the French press. While I was doing the French press, I was making myself a cup of tea that I could have before I got on the treadmill because I'm putting my brewed coffee in a commuter cup, and then I'm drinking that on the way to work, and what the hell? I need to change that. K-Cups aren't that bad. They're not great for the environment. One could argue that the method of brewing is probably not good in terms of potential, toxins in the coffee because you're using a plastic vessel that you're running hot water through, so you're leaching out nasties from those materials that they use in the plastic, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, it becomes a matter of convenience versus a matter of, an investment of time that you just can't afford. And for me, it's like, all right, well, if I want to drink coffee, I need to drink it in an economical way, economical being money as well as time. And so that's something I'm thinking about today is like, how can I hack some of those routines or get away from those artisan ways of doing things, that I enjoy doing and might be nice to do on the weekends. But as far as a daily routine, it's like if you're going to try to get things done and check things off and work through your to-do lists and optimize, your approach to being efficient and effective for the day, you gotta save time wherever you can. And it's cutting corners, but it's not cutting corners. You're not really sacrificing anything other than maybe a little bit more cost per cup. So that's something else to consider as far as routine, as far as economics, as far as time management. It's all kind of playing it's all kind of contributing to the same issue at hand.